What is going on, Sports Wars? We're here and we are live for Sunday morning Sports Wars. We are getting close to NFL season. We finally had the first preseason game, which is kind of a game that doesn't count, the Hall of Fame game. If preseason's barely watchable, the Hall of Fame game definitely is not. But with that being said, I'll take a victory for the Chicago Bears over the Houston Texans. The first of two victories that the Bears are going to get over the Houston Texans this year because they also play later in September. And I can't wait to see Caleb. Listen, Caleb Williams is used to pounding ass. He's going to go down there and pound some Texans ass when he finally gets on the field.
I don't know if Caleb Williams is the one pounding the ass. I think he might be receiving it.
I don't care as long as he can throw. That's all I fucking care about at this point for my team. And that's just more bragging rights. If my gay quarterback beats yours, that's even more bragging rights, I suppose. That's how bad you guys are. But with all the jokes about Caleb Williams aside, what's going on, Beardo?
Nothing much. We're getting very close. We're getting very close, man. And your Bears, I mean, even though the game ended an entire quarter early, you still got the dub. You had to end a quarter early to get the dub.
We were going to win anyway.
Yeah.
We were going to win anyway. And what about John Matrix? How's it going, man?
Oh, going good, man. Going good. I only saw probably about 15 minutes in that Hall of Fame game, and the opening kickoff was a disaster. What in the world was that?
I mean, that's the new rule. You know, that's the one that got established. And
bring back the old kickoff.
I agree, especially on a week where, like, you know, Devin Hester is inducted and shit like this. Like, we're never going to see shit like that anymore, you know, with this current setup. And not to say we're not going to see any returns or anything like that. It's like, it just doesn't feel like football. You know what I mean?
It's going to be a lot harder to see those kickoff returns for a touchdown. It's going to be very confusing for a few weeks with these new kickoff rules. And the fact that you can't onside kick anymore unless it's in the fourth quarter, and you have to let the other team know. You have to let the other team know that you're doing the onside kick. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows.
So no surprises onside kicks. No halftime Sean Payton, Super Bowl onside kicks. Only in the fourth quarter, and you have to let the other team know.
That's why they call it the No Fun League.
So just so everyone's aware, this is the new rule. You've got guys lined up. You've got the returners lined up on the 35, the defenders lined up on the 40. I believe the ball has to land in this range, right?
Or else you get a penalty.
Obviously, you can still just kick it out of the end zone and shit like that. But
nope. If you kick it out of the end zone, it's the touchback on the 30-yard line.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Yes. So
but
if you
look
kick
where
it
they're
out of the
kicking
end
the
zone,
football from. That's so easy to get a touchback every time.
So they kick it on the opposite 35. If you kick it out of the end zone, the team gets it on the 30. If they fair catch it, they get it on the 20. And if you kick it out of bounds, I believe that it's a re-kick.
That'll be on the 40. Then,
no. It should be a legal procedure, right?
Yeah, legal procedure. Yeah.
40.
So the receiving team can either elect a re-kick, right, and then or I think they can choose to have the penalty, the yards tacked on the next play. It's going to be weird for a while.
This is what it looks like, and the whole point is to stop the high speed collisions with people running directly, for 50 yards down the field. Those high speed collisions. This is what we end up with.
This one, we're hoping for a lot of these by the time.
Speed it up a little bit.
Season games.
When the ball's caught, they're allowed to move.
Right.
This one will be returned by Sims. And he's out to the.
There you go. That's the new kickoff.
So dumb.
Yep.
Yeah, there's certainly. I think that this is an effort for them to get more kickoff returns without the risk of injury. But
you can still get injured.
And people are still going to get injured as well. Like, it's still going to happen. Obviously, they have data that indicates that it won't, but who knows? Everyone's just going to look at the first person that gets injured and say, this was pointless. They didn't need to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the new NFL kickoff. So get excited for that on the same weekend that you that you induct a dude who literally was just so exciting at returning kickoffs and punt returns that he got into the Hall of Fame with that. The only reason Devin Hester gets in the Hall of Fame is because how fucking good he was returning kicks.
Right.
And this is kind of what they debut.
Was
Him
this
and
an
Deion
XFL
Sanders.
thing?
It was. I think he did
it
it in the
was.
XFL, and that's kind of what some of these leagues are going to be used for. The ones that have
the UFL now is the guinea pig for
Yeah.
NFL rules. That's the agreement they have with the NFL.
Yeah, and so they can test some things out there, and if it works, they adopt it. If not, then fuck it. Apparently, they thought that worked. Yeah, might as well just stop doing kickoffs at this point. Just give people the ball at the 25.
Eventually, they're probably just going to start it off from the 25. No kickoffs. But what happens when you actually want to do an onside kick then?
Yeah, then it wouldn't be too much different than now because you're basically telling everyone you're going to do an onside kick anyway.
Right.
You have to announce that you're going to do an onside kick.
Yes.
No more surprise ones. Even if it's in the fourth quarter, you still have to say, hey, we're going to do an onside kick, and you have to declare it to the other team.
Now, to be fair, sometimes you know that they're actually going to do an onside kick. Like if a team actually gets a touchdown and there's enough time left, you know they're going to do an onside kick. But I like the surprise element, though.
Well, even like when Pat McAfee, when he was a vet with the Colts, he had the green light to do an onside kick kind of whenever he wanted. Like there's that classic.
He felt they lined up in the right way that he could take advantage of it. He was allowed to do an onside kick to himself, and it worked.
Yes,
one time.
It worked against the Texans one time. He just seen it. He's seen this lineup where he was told, hey, if you see this, you can do it. So he just did it, and he onside kicked it to himself, and it worked. But no more of that anymore. You're not going to get that.
Man, they're taking the fun out the game.
Or even when you're in those kind of questionable marks where there's there's some time left, you have a decision to make. Should you onside kick? Should you try to take a chance to get a stop? You could line up like you're going to onside and then maybe pooch. You could do a lot of things before. There were options. Now it's just, hey, got to declare that you want to do an onside kick. So
sooner than later, we're not even going to get onside kicks. You're just going to get a 4th and 10 and just try to convert. Yeah. Like after a touchdown, you get a 4th and 10 and see if you can get a first down. If you do, you get the ball back.
Isn't that one of the
college football?
No, isn't that one of the rules in fucking
might have been XFL or
UFL. Like one of them, I think, did something like that.
Yeah.
So who knows? That might be adopted.
We'll get there one day.
Zenny Biscuit for $5. 2018 Triple Crown winner justifies officially in the Hall of Fame. There you go. Very cool. Thank you, Zenny Biscuit, for letting us know. Always up to date on the horse racing news. Taker for $5. You guys see the Chinese diving pair in the synchronized diving competition? Long D and Wang Z. They even put their names in that order. Yeah, it was Long Wang. It was Long/Wang, I believe, was the
really
team.
I didn't see that, but I did see the guy that lost the medal because his ball sack hit the pole.
Yeah, the pole vaulter.
Yeah.
I just think that there's so much fucking going on in the Olympics that he probably took some Cialis or Viagra the night before. He was a little chubbed up, and that's what made him lose the medal for the pole vault.
Well, at least he did confirm he's actually a man.
And you see that they were giving away condoms on all the athletes' hotel rooms.
That's been a thing for decades and decades at the Olympics.
Okay.
You've got a bunch of people that are in peak physical condition, fucking hormones running wild. Probably they've always fucked a lot at the Olympic time, and they've done some things to try to stop it, including like the cardboard beds that they've had, like the anti-sex beds and shit. But that they can't stop young attractive. Well, in some cases attractive. They can't stop like young people from wanting to fuck.
So.
It's funny that you brought that up, man. Ryan can probably actually attest to this. When I was in the Navy, they would actually give condoms away off the quarterdeck when you're going out on liberty. But they also use those condoms to actually put over the muzzle of the gun when you're on watch if it was raining. Did they do that when you were in, Ryan?
Listen, there were people that would do very interesting things with condoms that not necessarily for their intended purposes. We didn't have to I wasn't a nuke stand and watch with a gun, so we weren't doing that. But people did make use of them in other ways, whether it's as a fucking water balloon that wouldn't pop or anything else like that. So yeah.
Oh, we had them.
We didn't have
for
to
watch.
stand watch like you guys.
We put them over the 12 gauge shotgun in the rain because you had to hold it over your shoulder.
Let's see here. Dom, our man Dom with 5 gifted memberships.
Let's go.
Thank you, Dom. Eric K with 5 gifted memberships as well. Thank you, Eric. And then Raven and Writing Desk member for 3 months. Thank you. Super Based for 10. Challenge leftists to pick any swimming or track and field event final from the past 5 Olympics at random and bet the gold for the women would have lost to the 8th place for men. Easy money. Yeah, there's a difference between men and women, and we're going to talk about this. And obviously, kind of what was initially reported about these boxers, being trans, that wasn't the case. But we are looking clearly at a situation where they were found to have male chromosomes, a test from the IBA. The Olympics were informed about that, and they decided to not do anything about it. They decided that they were going to let them compete anyway. It is very convoluted, the type of rules and things that do apply. Some big worldwide federations do control the rules for people to get in the Olympics. In boxing, it's not the case of the IOC specific decision, which is why we end up with these 2 freaks competing. But we will get to that. We will get to that. Let's catch up on some of these chats. Keely Chow, the Texans are going to be sent to Pound Town. That's right. Eric Square for 5. This new kickoff format is a way of NFL saying we messed up without saying we messed up. Should have just left it alone. Eric K for 2. At this point, make everyone wear the sumo suit. On a return, yeah, maybe. It'd be fun to watch. Maga Sandra. So now it's called No Surprise on the Side. The onside kicks, maybe. Connor Akers for 2. Devin Hester's Super Bowl kick return is iconic. It is because it was like so talked about and so highly discussed in the weeks leading up to it, and then he fucking does it.
Well, the fact that he had done it all year long, like that Super Bowl bet for the kickoff to be returned for a touchdown was like everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, it was like not as good value as it probably should have been because so many people were placing bets on it that they shouldn't have, and he fucking does it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. I wish I could have saw that Super Bowl. I was actually at work when that Super Bowl was going on.
I was in the basement of my friend's house, just fucking getting infuriated.
It was a raining sloppy mess.
It was a raining sloppy mess, and because Charles Tillman, I think it was Charles Tillman, slips on a fucking wet field covering Reggie Wayne. That's the only reason Peyton Manning's able to win that fucking Super Bowl. Just a sad state of affairs. One of Peyton Manning's 2 Super Bowls given to him by my Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I was working at the casino when I was in college, and nobody was there. Everybody was watching the Super Bowl, and I was waiting tables, and I got stiffed on the tip.
Oh,
you're at a casino? You're waiting tables at a casino?
I was waiting tables at a casino, and
the TVs weren't playing the Super Bowl?
No. I was in a restaurant. We didn't have TVs in there. And one of Rockets coaches, he would come in there all the time, never tips. He stiffed me.
Oh, what a bitch. What a bitch.
I hated waiting on this table too.
But we do have to talk about this Olympics craziness, right? Last time we were talking a little about the opening ceremonies, things like that. But we did know there would be interesting things ahead, including boxers who had been disqualified from the World Championships the year prior because, as stated, they were found to have XY chromosomes. Now, we talk a lot about transgender athletes and stuff like that here. It doesn't appear that is this case. What this case appears to be is a DSD case, which super rare, super rare, doesn't often occur, but on occasion, you do actually have these things. You might have heard of like intersex people, like same type of frequency when it comes to this level of DSD, where people may or may not have both sets of genitalia. Some of them might be internal, like that one sprinter who has internal testicles. But at the end of the day, chromosomes are XY. Chromosomes are male chromosomes, regardless of how you were raised, any of this stuff. And it gives you an inherent advantage. That's what we're seeing play out at the Olympics. And we got 2 fighters to talk about because both of them, we need to talk about both of these people right now. But For the second time, the second boxer who was disqualified from the world championships has beaten a woman in the ring. But this time, that woman didn't just let it go. We heard all the outcry a few days ago. Unfair, unsafe, and wrong. Social media erupts after a Taiwanese fighter who failed IBA gender test defeats female opponent. Well, it happened again. And once again, we have another one of these people who was disqualified for being a male. They are now going to go on to the semifinals in the Olympics, but the opponent is not sitting down and taking it. Bulgarian female boxer makes XX chromosome symbol after losing to fighter who failed IBA gender test. Bulgarian female boxer Svetlana Staneva made an XX chromosome symbol with her fingers after losing to a Taiwanese fighter who failed an IBA gender test in a powerful gesture to indicate that she is a woman. And you can watch right here. Hopefully we won't get copyright for just 1 fucking second. But you can see her, throw up the XX in the ring. You've also got this picture right here that says a lot. A defiant Staneva after getting cheated out of an Olympic medal by a male boxer. I am XX. I am a woman. I think that her trainer came out and held a piece of paper that said the same thing, save women's sports. I don't think this is going to be a situation like the Italian fighter who came out and apologized. But we know it's gone too far. We've talked about it here on this channel. You guys have talked about it on Black and White Sports for years and years now, that men coming in and defeating women with an inherent physical advantage, it's a problem and it's going to destroy women's sports. And we're on the precipice of seeing multiple medals from male athletes against women. It's just sad.
Yeah, this fighter, Yu Ting, what is it? I can't remember his name, but anyway. He's guaranteed. Yu Ting Ling. He's guaranteed.
Lin Yu Ting. Lin Yu Ting,
yeah. Guaranteed a bronze medal now, just like Iman Khalif. Guaranteed medals now. So women are actually losing out on medals now. She didn't shake his hand. Don't blame her. Hopefully she doesn't bend the knee like Angela Cartini from Italy.
Yeah, we saw Angela Carini, obviously say it's not fair, refuse to shake Iman Khalif's hand, and inevitably after the social media pressure, after she got blasted by the woke media, issues an apology, which it's just sad. I don't think we're going to see the same apology from someone like this. This is clearly a very defiant and powerful gesture indicating, hey, I'm a woman, and I don't think that he is. What's your take on this, Beardo?
Yeah, it's wild. And it's crazy that the Italian fighter, felt the need to apologize after, because, dude, she took one punch to the nose and quit.
It was brutal.
She's like, I'm not doing this. I can't do it. And I think she said afterward that was the hardest punch she's ever taken in her entire career. And then she backs out, she quits, and she didn't shake the person's hand. And like the taunting too. The taunting from the motherfucker. Who's the first dude?
Iman Khalif is that other one.
Dude, the taunting, as soon as she backed out, he got in her face and stared her in the eye, stared her down, and then went and patted her on the back, and she wanted nothing to do with it. And the pressure, and she apologizes. That's wild to me that she felt the need to apologize after that. She it's not like she got beat outright and stayed in there and tried to win. She got rocked in the fucking face and quit and knew what was going on and then apologized the next day. That's wild.
Yeah, she would have got killed if she continued. She took 2 vicious blows to the face and said, I gotta save myself. This case here, Lin Yu Ting, he didn't really inflict any damage on the women. I missed this fight, but I saw the fight from day before yesterday. He was controlling that fight for 3 rounds. It really wasn't even close.
So are is the first dude and then this guy the fighters with XY chromosomes? Is there a chance that they can compete for gold against each other?
I don't think so.
You're gonna have
they're going to the
dudes.
semifinals already, so they fight.
Are they in the same weight class though?
See, that's the question.
That
was my question.
I don't think they are, right?
Khalif is bigger than him.
Yeah, I don't think they're in the same weight class.
Okay.
But they both advanced to the semifinals in their respective classes.
Right.
It's going to be wild for women's boxing if you get two individuals with XY chromosomes to win gold for women's boxing.
And I think they're both going to win gold. But is this going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back to actually finally put a stop to this madness?
No, I don't think so.
I
do not think so.
I don't think that this is going to be. However, I do think that this is a massive fucking story that's like not going to go away, especially if one or both of them win gold. It's certainly just going to add that much more, because this is not, again, a lot of us kind of saw the initial reporting that was out there from some people that these are transgender. That doesn't appear to be it. It looks
that
like
was the initial report.
Right.
And which that is a little, to me, it is different than a transgender athlete. Transgender athletes, there are people that like, this is an active choice they made to transition, to call themselves a different thing, whatever, to then compete in women's sports. Whereas if it's a DSD thing, that is different to me. They still shouldn't be competing, right? But it doesn't make it as it makes it different, because it's not like they made a choice, right? They probably fucking lived like this for a long time, and wasn't until they got probably really heavy into sports they probably got a test. They're like, oh, actually, you have this going on with you, which is a really fucking rare thing. And it's a little more unfortunate because it's not like a decision that they made, but they also should not be competing with women. Like, that's the reality. That's the bottom line. If you have male DNA, you should not be competing with women.
Yeah.
This is like Samanya, the track athlete. I mean, Samanya is dominating the women in track, and Samanya has admitted, yep, I got testes. And that track has actually tried to make her suppress testosterone as well.
And she refused to do that, I believe.
Yeah.
But as a result, isn't allowed to compete in some of the Olympic events.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't really blame Samanya for not wanting to suppress these testosterone, but still, you shouldn't be competing against women.
Especially in combat sports.
Yeah.
Especially in boxing. That's the one where you shouldn't be able to. Hey, listen, if you got XY chromosomes, you were led to believe that you were a woman for the first 18, 19 years of your life, and then all of a sudden you got DNA testing for the Olympics or for whatever league that you're in your respective country, and you found out that you have male DNA, sorry, you got to start competing with the men.
I think they already knew.
They
look like men too.
Well, like here's another story that came out. Like the International Olympic Committee did know, and they were warned about this. This is one of the statements we got maybe this came out yesterday. International Olympic Committee was warned about male boxers, World Boxing Organization vice president says. Hungarian sports official came out and said Algerian boxer Romain Khalif is not female. Istvan Kovacs, the European vice president of the World Boxing Organization and former secretary general of the IBA, told Hungarian press he warned the IOC about males participating in women's boxing as early as 2022, but nothing was done. It was known as early as 2022 that Khalif was a biological male. The problem was not necessarily with the level of Khalif's testosterone, because that can be adjusted nowadays, but with the result of the gender test, which clearly revealed the Algerian boxer is a biological male, Kovacs said in an interview with whatever the fuck this other European name is, adding a total of 5 boxers had been examined, including Khalif, by the IBA, and all of them were indeed men. And that even kind of does tell you the fact, hey, we could adjust that testosterone level. That's the same thing you're talking about with the track and field stuff. If they do find DSD athletes, there might be some additional requirements or additional medication they need to take to lower their testosterone levels. So that even further indicates that's kind of what we're talking about with these two competitors.
So
I must question this, though. What are the odds you would actually have 2 athletes with DSD in the same sports in the Olympics? That's like hitting the jackpot twice.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's all. It's a coincidence, I suppose, that so much of it is like, like happening right now with all the attention there's on transgender athletes. But this may be a thing that initially, like the Olympics used to do gender testing. They used to do it as late as like 2016, I think, and they stopped doing that now. So maybe that is why we do have these types of things going on at this point in time. But they have an inherent advantage because of the way that they were born. Go ahead, Beardo.
There was that documentary on the Russian women's swimming team that was either in the 80s or the 90s, and they were all on testosterone, literally like had to shave their face because they were growing beards. And they just like, they ran away with every single swimming medal that there was. And there was like big uproar that there's a whole documentary about it. So, and that's one point. My second question is, and I'm not sure if you guys know, like, let's just say like powerlifting or for the world's strongest man competition, individuals, men who are born with like they're double jointed or they're born with extra forearm muscle group, can they compete in the world's strongest man when you have a birth defect where you just happen to have an extra muscle group in your forearms, or you're double jointed so you just can handle more stress and then you can train and compete in the world's strongest man or powerlifting competitions, or even in the Olympics as well?
Well, like the thing is, when you start using arguments like that, I do feel like it ends up being like somewhat of a slippery slope, right? This is this is the reaction everyone's had, that Michael Phelps was a freak of nature. He was double jointed, and you know, he had more range of motion in his feet. That's why he was able to be good. Should he have been disqualified? And no, I think that obviously I shouldn't be like, hey, Dikembe Mutombo's so tall, it's not fair that he's allowed to go to the Olympics and not me, or something like that.
Yeah.
But when it does come to something as simple as truly like genetics, XY versus XX, that to me is such
that's where you draw the line.
Thing. It's such a simple thing to exclude and say, hey,
that's just basic biology. I mean, naturally athletes are going to have better genetics than other people. I mean, look at LeBron, man. LeBron is a genetic freak, even though a whole bunch of other guys in the NBA are in shape, but they don't have his skill set.
Right.
But it is a mess. And even this now fucking Amin Khalif, I don't know if I have that. I wanted to show that because Amin Khalif is the other guy, the one that's drawn more attention probably than the other one.
That one pissed me off more because of the taunting, the stare down after she backed out and then got right up in her face and stared her down like, bro, you're a fucking dude and you just beat the shit out of this chick to the point where she quit in the Olympics.
I wanted to find the video because like Amin Khalif, this freak, after beating the Hungarian to go to the semifinals, gave an interview that was like, I've always been fighting. It's an injustice what the IBA is doing to me. You know, Allahu Akbar, blah blah blah, and it's like this is becoming super politically charged right now. Here it is. Look at and there's a lot of fucking people out there supporting these guys over on social media. Amin Khalif's victory in the quarterfinals is her response to overwhelming hate, misinformation, misogyny, and racism that was thrown at her the last 3 days. Go woman! Imagine having to like say that just to kind of like reiterate, I promise it's a woman. I think this is all in another language. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to fucking know what she's saying.
Racism?
I got to get the actual translation. How much racism has been thrown against this person? Is it racism that we're calling out the Taiwanese boxer as well?
No, it's a joke.
And I think even more so, like the idea that this is pretty much a DSD case. I don't know if you saw this, John, either, but the IOC was forced to issue a correction on the initial statement that they put out because the IOC has been defending them hard. And one of the things that they said was, this is not a DSD issue. This is not a DSD athlete issue. So differences in sexual development issue. They had to retract that statement because it wasn't accurate. Correction. Paris 2024 press briefing. IOC President Bach said, but I repeat here, this is not a DSD case. This is about a woman taking part in a women's competition. I think I've explained that many times. But what was intended was, but I repeat here, this is not a transgender case. This is about a woman taking part in women's competition. So if you had to correct that sentiment, it means that you fucking know it's a DSD case and you're actively covering it up.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
And a lot of people are saying to the IBA, like, oh, why don't you release exactly what test it was, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they're actually allowed to release things like that. They may have already skirted some actual like civil laws by revealing test information publicly like that. So I don't know if they can actually get into specifics, which is probably why they can't give what a lot of people are asking them to give about the results of the specific test that was issued. But it's a fucking mess and it's a nightmare. And if this is a DSD issue, it's not some like necessarily nefarious thing that they've switched this, but they still should not be allowed to compete with women. They have male chromosomes. They have male DNA. We're watching women get battered around by men in the Olympics. And in the large part, the IOC, a lot of people in the mainstream media, they are complicit in allowing this to happen and encouraging this to happen.
Yep.
Just like
I'm
they've
pretty
been
sure the
complicit in
mainstream
trans
media
stuff.
loves this because I know this ain't a trans case, but this directly ties to the trans agenda that's going on in sports.
Right.
They're trying to justify this for the future of trans athletes in sports.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to see in future years now, and it's a lot easier to do with the Olympics because it's every 4 years with this trans movement. How many people are going to have claimed that they have this DSD case when really they might have been biologically born a man and then transition through early years of their childhood and then get to the Olympics, and then what is it going to be sexist or transphobic to want to, hey, prove to me that you haven't had fucking gender reassignment surgery? Is that going to then be legal? How are you going to be able to test if the fact, oh, this is DSDA and they do have male chromosomes, but we're not allowed to actually see what kind of, look at their medical records and see if they've actually were biologically a male or not. It's going to get fucking weird, man. Like Ryan said, it's going to be a slippery slope. And I think if this trans agenda keeps going the way it is, especially with young kids now transitioning at such a long age, for future years going into the Olympics, this is going to get a lot harder to investigate, I think.
Well, and I think that the trans agenda, that like the idea of these sick in the head dudes who transition and become women and compete against women, right? I think that is the reason we're seeing this controversy now, because it used to be fairly standard to do basic genetic tests in terms of just gender tests. Like very fucking simple, man, woman, boom, you can compete, you can't compete. Like that used to be pretty standard. But over the past decade or so, it's become non-standard, probably in an effort to make it okay for more of these trans athletes to compete against women, for more biological men to come in and compete against women, to push an agenda, to not get canceled, whatever it may be. And now as a result, you remove those gender eligibility tests from places like the IOC, and all of a sudden you have these athletes who should not be competing, who have male DNA, male chromosomes in the ring against women. Yep. Because I think in large part of the push for trans athletes.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what I think is a big core cause of a lot of this insanity that's going on right now. All right, where was I with super chats here? Devin Hester's Super Bowl. Oh, we talked about this. Mm-hmm. Terry Lapari says, quit tweaking the rules. Yeah, quit tweaking the rules. Chris Pruitt, I'm glad Skip is out. However, I wish Shannon would have went down as well. That show felt like a political or social issue show disguised as a sports show. Yeah, we can talk about that briefly because an era is over. Skip Bayless is officially done at Fox Sports 1, done with Undisputed. But the weirdest part about it, we heard those rumors come out a couple weeks ago, was there was no last show. It was just as soon as the show was done on Friday at 12:01 p.m., 1 minute after they went off air, Skip sent out a tweet saying, I'm officially done with FS1 and Undisputed. I'm moving on to different things. Something bad happened, like behind the scenes, like between them. It has to, for something to end that way with no goodbye, no farewell. Even Shannon, when he left like a year ago, had a farewell show. Yeah. Something's going on.
Money?
I don't think it's as simple as that. But
the show declined big time, though.
Exactly. They were getting destroyed. Undisputed was getting destroyed by First Take. And it's not like First Take ratings are glorious or anything.
Yeah, I mean, we were probably getting more views than them. I mean, that's how much it fell off. They were getting like, what, 45,000 people a show or something like that. It was
Undisputed was
awful.
really bad. Like Undisputed was getting in the 100,000 viewer range for a couple of those things. But for a guy like Skip Bayless, who's been around a long time, been at FS1 for 8 years, ever since they made that big push to kind of battle against ESPN, at ESPN for a long time before that, and just kind of unceremoniously shows over your flagship show, and the guy's done.
Yeah.
It feels like there's something going on.
The thing is, Undisputed was successful for years on FS1. And then Damar Hamlin happened, and then Skip and Shannon had a falling out after that, and that was a wrap.
God, what
it was over
with. A retarded thing, too. Like Shannon freaked out because Skip was like disrespectful about, or said that the game should go on or something. Wasn't that it?
Yeah. It was something similar to that. He was worried about the game continuing.
Yeah, he was like, Skip was simply like making a statement about, like, he wasn't minimizing like what had happened to Damar Hamlin, but he was just straight up saying, hey, if they cancel this game and don't play it, it can have like big ramifications. And it did go on to have big ramifications in terms of home field advantage and all these different things. So Skip was right. And we've given Skip a lot of shit for a lot of different reasons over the years, but I don't think that like, in addition to the real life shit that was going on with Damar Hamlin, it's a valid thing to question the rest of the NFL season as a whole and what kind of implications it can have. And all the black people in the world came out and called him fucking racist for it.
You can make the case that the Chiefs won that Super Bowl because Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field and it completely affected home field.
Motherfucker was dead for about 15 to 20 minutes. Like, he died.
Oh, yeah, he died. Heart fucking stopped. That was a crazy story.
But
you remember when that happened? I think, Beardo, you called me.
I remember I was watching it with my parents, and I was watching it, and I called you, and I was like, Ryan, are you seeing what's happening right now? It was Monday Night Football, Monday or Thursday night. I think it was Monday night. And
I was in the car driving, and I was like,
and Ryan's like, no, what happened? I'm like, dude, somebody just died in the Bills game. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable making this video. I think you should make it.
So I flip a U-turn. I'm like looking up videos on Twitter as I'm flying home at like 90 miles an hour. And I look and I'm like seeing the Joe Buck and Troy Aikman making these statements as they're just fucking doing CPR and Damar Hamlin.
Dude, yes.
Look at people crying. I'm like, holy fuck. Got in. That still to this day is the highest viewed video on the channel. Like 3 million something views.
Wow.
With Damar Hamlin fucking died on the field. That was insane.
Yep. But like, we've seen crazy shit, not to that level, but we've seen Ryan Shazier dropped, paralyzed. We had Kevin Everett from the Bills talk about kickoff injuries. Kevin Everett was like, in my lifetime, that was one I remember that was horrible. Like, they had to airlift him. They froze his spine so that it wouldn't, like, they had to do some like weird, like, liquid nitrogen freezing on his neck just so that he wouldn't be fully paralyzed. We've seen some horrific injuries where the players on the field have to sack up and accept what happened and go out there and play football. So I totally understand where Skip was coming from. It's like, yeah, like, this is crazy, but you got to sack up. You got to man up and you got to finish the fucking game. That's just how it is. It's how it always has been.
Yeah. But I think,
like, what are some other? I remember one vividly as a Bears fan. They had a wide receiver called Johnny Knox, and Johnny Knox got bent literally in half, and fucking ended his career. He's lucky he was able to walk after that. But we were just talking before the stream about Alex Smith, because Alex Smith shared a picture of his fucked up looking legs, and it's a miracle that he still had a leg. That they were able to save his leg after everything they went through. The fact that man got on a field again and played football after that when he didn't have to is fucking wild.
Yep. I think they did like 11 surgeries on his leg, and at some point, like, the doctors were like, we might just need to lop this fucker off because it was bad.
And that picture you showed us actually looks better than the last picture I saw.
Well, it's a couple years later.
Yeah.
It's looking more normal, but like I've seen
It ain't normal, but it looks better.
I've seen some of the real, like the pictures from like right after it. Like,
I've never seen it.
It's pretty grotesque.
I never seen it. You got to put that in the private chat then if you can find it, because I haven't seen it.
Jerry RN for 199. This isn't men's fight if women aren't willing to. Well, like I don't really particularly care if every person in the world thinks that this is worth fighting or whatever. If I think it's like wrong and we're talking about, I'm going to talk about it, regardless if Angela Carini isn't willing to continue to stand up. I don't think that doesn't really bother me. I'm still going to speak out about it if I think it's wrong. Mexican Iron Man Olympics is disgusting. Real chicks need to stand up. Yeah, they definitely. It's going to get more attention than if I'm the only one talking about it, or us. All these men on the panel. Jeremy is gay. That is all. Thank you. David Cushmore for 5. Good thing that Leah Thomas did not make the Olympic Games for swimming. And yeah, that's the thing. World, is it WA, World Aquatics Organization?
World Aquatics.
I think that's who controls. They are the ones that do dictate the rules for Olympic qualifications as well. The IBA, I think, used to for the Olympics, but that changed a few years ago. There was some fucking random scandal that happened with the IBA, and the Olympics kind of parted ways with them. And that's why the Olympics probably don't want to take any of IBA's advice when it comes to this stuff. Connor Akers for 5. Olympic boxing reminds me of the South Park episode of Macho Man Randy Savage identifying as a woman, winning the strong woman competition. Yeah. It literally brought the meme to life. Cole Hauser for 2. Ryan for Secretary of State. You make me proud, bro. What did I do? Thank you, Cole Hauser. I don't know if I'd be best for, relations with other countries around the world. I don't know if I'm the best guy for that. Emilio with 10 gifted memberships.
Go, shout out.
Thank you, Emilio. And then Cole Hauser. The worst was Buffalo Sabres. Clint Malarchuk. Would he get sliced open?
He probably got sliced, yeah.
Remember that? It was like a year ago or whatever, where that player in the UK got
the hockey
killed.
Player.
Yes,
that's got to be the worst thing I've ever seen in sports.
Yeah,
do you think so?
Easily, he died. He bled out. Well, got his throat sliced.
I know, he didn't die right there. He went to the hospital.
It was terrible to watch, but it wasn't it didn't.
It wasn't gruesome
because of the views we got of it. It wasn't like super gruesome, but seeing a man die in front of you is fucked up.
How about was it just last year or 2 years ago when it was the same season with DeMar Hamlin, the Colts running back? He got traded, but the Colts running back, I forget his name. He got hit, he stood up, and then he dropped again, and then he was like, he couldn't even walk straight, but he was down for a while too. But he popped right up and then dropped and then just went full retard.
Yeah. I mean,
Haynes
happens.
Haynes, maybe.
I think
Hines.
I don't know.
Hines, yes, I think.
Okay. I got to say, I know we were talking about DeMar Hamlin, but in that moment of DeMar Hamlin dropping, I don't think anybody knew his heart stopped or anything. I think the Tua thing was probably the scariest thing I've seen in a while, because his fingers just like locked up. You're like, oh,
we see that all the time.
Something is wrong though.
I've seen Wes Welker do that at least 3 times in his career, where he gets locked up like this. And Heath Miller for the Steelers, that happened to him before. And Emmanuel Sanders. Peyton Manning's notorious for throwing those fucking concussion passes.
Yeah, like there is like the concussion look, right? Where you see a guy go stiff.
You go and you lock out and they're like this.
Yeah. But the Tua, you're right though, John. Like the Tua one was crazy because of like his fingers specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that was prime time,
where he looked like he was fucking throwing gang signs. I still can't believe they gave this man.
That was Thursday Night Football, right?
Yeah.
I still can't believe they gave this man $50+ million a year.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I just don't know if he's going to be around for it. Speaking of football, though, I did want to talk about this. This isn't probably as important to everyone else as it was to me, but as a Bears fan, as someone who grew up, admiring those 85 Bears, that championship, that Super Bowl, and that team, It was a pretty touching moment for Bears fans when Steve Mongo McMichael was finally officially inducted into the Hall of Fame. And for people that don't know, Steve McMichael, big member of that Bears 85 Super Bowl team, couple Pro Bowls, couple All Pros. I think he's still second in Bears history in sacks potentially, but had not been able to get in the Hall of Fame. And there was kind of a push to get him there in that veteran slot for a while. And he's been dealing with ALS for the past 5+ years, probably. He's also a guy who, after he was a Chicago Bear, was constantly a presence in like Chicago Bears talk radio, Chicago sports talk radio, stuff like that. And with his family and fellow teammates all surrounding him, he is finally revealed that he's in the Hall of Fame, and he gets his bust. They went all out there to actually do it in person. First time they've ever done something like that, probably because he's not going to be around too much longer. But obviously the dude's a shell of himself, and ALS is a disgusting disease, which if you've ever had a family member go through it, it's fucking brutal. It's just really, really difficult. So I thought that was a cool moment, at least for me to see. Surrounded by family and friends and teammates and all that stuff. Finally gets that bust and is finally in the Hall of Fame.
Immortalized forever, man.
What's that?
Immortalized forever.
Yeah.
Good for him, man.
Yep. And the thing with ALS, for some reason, it's probably not this way. It probably just is. This is what we notice because we notice things like this. But it seems so often like the people that have the most kind of crazy active lifestyles that are like super outgoing or whatever, like, and the people who feel like they're never going to slow down, those end up kind of being the ones that get ALS and like they get slowed down by it.
Yeah.
Which sucks because like it feels like everything like you knew that person. It's not ever. Probably just because we don't hear about it, but it doesn't seem like it's ever just some fat loser slob who never does anything, never goes anywhere that gets ALS. It's like always somebody that has an active lifestyle, that had a lot of dreams and aspirations, and you kind of never thought that they
really
would be stopped.
Good,
like
down to earth person. There's the one dude from the Saints, former Saints special teams player. He's got
Gleason,
ALS now.
I can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either.
Gleason, right?
Gleason, yes, Gleason. Yeah. And he was that was after the Katrina. It was the Katrina season, and he had like some super awesome game changing block punt.
It was
return.
just the blocked punt, yeah.
The block punt return for a touchdown. I think he had. That was like his main highlight of his career.
After Katrina, yeah.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Gleason. Crazy. Let's see. Eric is in the chat saying that Cliff Branch should be in the Hall of Fame. Cliff Branch for Hall of Fame. Stats blow the receivers away. I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with Cliff Branch's stats. Didn't he play like for was he an Oakland guy? An LA guy? Like LA Raider guy?
He played with the Raiders.
My pick, my one pick for somebody who's been snubbed from the Hall of Fame for way too long and who absolutely should be a Hall of Famer is Jim Plunkett. How the fuck is Jim Plunkett not in the Hall of Fame? Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame and Jim Plunkett isn't.
They've got other names that have to go in front of him. Like next year, who we got that's going to be a shoe-in?
Eli Manning.
Yeah. Eli Manning is eligible next year.
If Eli gets in, I don't believe it'll be on the first ballot.
He's John. Eli's going to be first ballot. Also, Eli's the only quarterback on the ballot. He's getting in first ballot. Marshawn Lynch is also next year as well.
Should be in the Hall of Fame, Eli.
Yes.
Marshawn Lynch.
He's got 2 championships.
Marshawn Lynch is he a Hall of Fame running back?
Marshawn Lynch gets in.
I think he's a Hall of very good.
If Andre Johnson got in, Marshawn Lynch is getting in.
Andre at his peak was fucking
different.
Best receiver in the league.
He was like a best receiver in the league kind of wide receiver. Marshawn Lynch to me wasn't that dude is the best in the league at running back.
He was a game changer though. He had 3 years where
he was really good.
He had 3 years in Seattle where every time he touched the ball, he could have taken it the entire way.
Let's see here.
I'm looking at those Seattle numbers, right? So
he got 10,400 yards, 4.2 yards a carry, 85 touchdowns. But overall, I mean,
he had 4 really good seasons in Seattle.
yeah,
right?
he did.
1,200, 1,600, 1,200, 1,300 yards with 12, 11, 12, 13 touchdowns.
He's also got a Super Bowl.
And he just was, well, let's be real, when we do look at running backs, especially like coming down, like the guys who are playing now who will be eligible like 5 years from now, it's kind of a different era, right? Where you don't see these guys that have super long bell cow type of careers. And I think Marshawn is going to get in. I don't know if he's going to be a first guy or not, but I think just because of how long he played, he'll probably end up being there. Because he had like 4 or 5 years with Buffalo before he went to Seattle.
Yeah,
Right.
he wasn't
Right.
that much in Buffalo. I think he was a 1,000-yard rusher, though.
Yeah, but that Buffalo team was ass. Terrell Suggs, Luke Kuechly, Eli Manning, Torrey Holt is up again. Willie Anderson, and let's look at the next page. That was. Why is that the only ones that NFL.com has given me?
See, NFL treats wide receivers. It's harder. Wide receiver is probably the hardest position to actually get in.
For a long time, it was like that.
I mean, Michael Irvin, it took him 3 times to get in. He should have been on the first ballot.
For a long time, it
He had
was
a really
like
short career, though.
Yeah, he got injured, but man, he was fantastic when he had 10 good years, though. 10 years. Yeah, it was cut short,
You got
but still.
Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, Terrell Suggs, Marshall Yanda, Eli Manning, Marshawn Lynch, Joe Staley, Travis Frederick, and Aqib Talib are all eligible next year.
I don't think Talib is getting in.
I think Eli makes it. You said Terrell Suggs. Terrell Suggs will make it.
Terrell
Vinatieri's
Suggs,
probably getting
Luke
in.
Kuechly, Vinatieri's getting in. So those are first ballot guys. Marshawn Lynch.
Luke Kuechly was a fucking monster who retired early.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tough. That's why it's such a difficult thing to talk about it, because do you value longevity? Do you value what their peak was?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just their talent level and how good they could have been if they hadn't retired early. Like it's a tough conversation.
See, that's where like Terrell Davis comes in. I was thinking I do value longevity. I know Terrell Davis was great, but he was great for like 2 or 3 years. And then he was done.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Terrell Suggs?
No. Terrell Davis. For the Broncos.
TD. Okay.
Yeah.
Like Luke Kuechly was a fucking animal and the best middle linebacker in the league while he was playing.
Right.
We just witnessed a couple, was it last year or the year before, where both Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher both got in, first ballot Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to put Luke Kuechly at the same level?
Is Terrell Suggs?
Because he didn't have the extended career. I don't know. How old was he when he retired?
Luke Kuechly, young 30s probably, if that. Might have been 30 years old.
How long was Luke Kuechly when he retired?
You also got on second or third ballots, you
He was
got Jared.
28 years old when he retired.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Wow. That's crazy.
It's tough. Like,
Well, same thing with Andrew Luck. Are you going to put Andrew Luck in the Hall of Fame?
Hell
No.
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 Not
Andrew
even
Luck's
close.
not in the Hall of Fame.
definitively not. Yeah.
Right.
Not even
Yeah.
close.
Yep. You got Jared Allen on his second or third try. Antonio Gates, who I think is a Hall of Famer. Rodney Harrison, Torrey Holt, Fred Taylor, Reggie Wayne, and Darren Woodson are all coming back on their second or third try.
Darren Woodson's still not in the Hall of Fame?
Darren Woodson has to get in eventually.
Yeah.
He can't
No.
not. He can't not. But anyway,
Keith Talib's got a couple of rings. He's got at least 2 or 3 rings. I think 2 with the Patriots, or at least 1 with the Patriots and 1 with the Broncos.
yeah, but do we care about that? Like,
Yeah, I think Talib got
had
some.
a couple
Rings
years
matter,
where he
though.
was, where
But
he was hot shit,
Yeah, he was great, but I think that off-field stuff with his brother is going to affect him too.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about with that.
I don't.
Remember, his brother killed a guy on the football field. Actually, Talib was actually
Dude,
I don't
bargain
think
with
there's
this-
a
Ray
second at all,
Lewis
though.
killed a guy. Okay.
Yeah, but what
And
I'm
he
talking
continued
about
to
is
play after that.
Yeah.
what I'm talking about is this is actually recent too. This is like last year or something like that. And his brother pulled out a gun and shot the coach.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's gonna give a fuck about that for Aqib Talib's Hall of Fame.
Then it
future.
may come into play.
I don't think so. Marshawn Lynch gets in, I think, first ballot. Eli gets in first ballot. I do think Luke. Well, how many are allowed? Do they just do 5? How many are allowed per year?
I don't think there's a limit.
I don't know if there is a max. I know there's a max for the veteran ones that they can bring in at a time, but I'm not sure if there's a max or a minimum that they need.
Somebody said Michael Vick is a Hall of Famer. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Nah, not quite. But yeah, I don't know how we got off on this topic, but thank you.
We were talking about the dude from the Bears, the ALS.
Steve Mongo McMichael.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taker for 5. There's no way the opening ceremonies could have been depicting the Last Supper. No way that fat cow understands the concept of Last Supper. Yeah, I don't think so either. It couldn't possibly be that. But anyway, guys, that was a kind of a weird rambly stream, but we've been going almost an hour now. That's usually about how long we go on the show. We start at 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, almost every Sunday. Beardo, what do you got going on this week, man?
Nothing much. I'm going to grill myself a steak and maybe watch some baseball.
There you go. What about you, John?
I'm going to have some lunch, watch some TV, and drop some videos probably later on.
There you go. Well, as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in on YouTube and over on Rumble. We had about 900 in YouTube at one point, around 900 at Rumble at one point. So perfectly balanced, which is nice. But we will be back. We'll be keeping up with all the insanity for the Olympics and everything else that catches our eye in the sports world. And we will talk to you guys next week. Peace.